Why are foreigners selling? Why is the market having a hard time to go up? What are the indicators that you need to consider to see if the market is actually moving up again? If you want to know more about the market and its possibility of either reversing or falling back down again, you have to check this video out. Hi everyone, so we are back again with Jonathan Ravelas, BDO Chief Market Strategist. So on the first video, he gave his insights on technical analysis. He shared his principles and strategies on Elliott Wave, on Fibonacci retracements, and everything else on how he has used technical analysis on over 20 plus years of trading to help him navigate the markets. Now, on this video, we're gonna drill in on his take on the market and outlook. What are the things that you need to consider if you are trading the markets, and what would it take for the market to reverse? So here's part 2 of our video with him. Enjoy the video. A lot of people are a bit worried now for the market in general because volumes have been thinner. Then it's just the speculative telco plays that are moving. Is this something, based on your years of experience, something that should cause a concern to a lot of people, and given that foreign funds are still not also coming into our markets as well?
Now that you've asked that question, let me put it this way. One, this is the first time in more than 20 years that we've seen an outflow this huge. Okay, since the time foreign outflows have been being tracked, no? We're already eclipsing almost 11 months, which we saw in 2018, that there's been an outflow. But the amount of this inflow since 1999, when it's being tracked, this is the biggest so far. What does that mean? It's really money is eventually moving out of the Philippines, no? Because the recovery in the US is more defined than what's happening here. So the reality is, if you remember, in June, we saw a potential upside in the market because people felt that we will reopen the economy further at a faster time. But eventually, it seems with the rising cases, and it all boils down to the word confidence. And confidence eventually is absent. Now, to move into the cycle of confidence in the markets, the confidence there must be on three things. One is confidence in government. Government in the sense on how we deal with this pandemic. So dealing with this pandemic means we need to think about more of prevention rather than reactionary, which is what we're doing. What we're doing is we are testing, we are tracing, and we are treating. What we should be doing so that we can further reopen the economy is tell everybody to wear masks properly. Diba? Wear the face shield and social distance. If you recall, in school, we were always taught that cleanliness is next to godliness. Diba? If we're just going to go back to basics and think about it, how do we protect ourselves? How do we maintain cleanliness? Washing hands every 30 minutes is one. It's a practice. Now, if we're able to explain prevention to our fellow Filipinos to wear the masks, and when they wear the mask, it must be over their nose, not keeping it below. Diba? We social distance. And the main impact is that we will be able to avoid contracting COVID. Diba? So, what does it do? It brings us to a confidence that consumers are willing to go out. And business now will look at it as, all right, it seems that government activity and are doing their job. Diba? Than just by continue doing the lockdowns. Now, that is one. Why are there consumer and business confidence down, mainly because manufacturing has not restarted. Very little because there's no transportation. Diba? The strong peso is a false signal because a strong peso means there's no economic activity, no importation. So, what we need to do is to eventually restart that economy. So, we need to build consumers to become confident to go out. Diba? People in business to see that people now are slowly braving themselves. They're fighting the fear so that they're able to go out. For businesses, we need to see them go through what I call the change makers playbook. They will think of survival. They will think of pivoting to the new normal, and eventually repurposing their people and assets. So simply means that if I have a business, first thing I'd think about is my survival. How long can I survive? So that's all about cash. When I pivot to the new normal, how do I become relevant in this new normal? That means putting up an online presence. So when I have an online presence, I can get business, diba? But it also means I need to repurpose my people so that they're still able to get business through online. So there are things how we do things online, diba? So right now, you need to be patient if you can't hear me. This is now the norm, diba? So again, we need to make these adjustments for the economy to work. Now, the good news and that what could change the whole story is a vaccine. And that can be 18 to 24 months from now. Diba? But between that time and that 18 months, we need to think, how are we going to live with the virus? Diba? So that's eventually how we need to play the market. What we're playing right now is that we're thinking that vaccine is just around the corner. We can't live that way. No? We need to be able to think, how are we able to eventually do prevention so that people can eventually go out and normalize their lives. Diba? So, dyan mo makikita yung test of faith.
We looked at the charts from a long-term perspective, but plotting the chart from May 2020 up until the present, it's forming a descending triangle with supports at around 5.6 and 5.4. Is that something that concerns you also, that we may see also further downside still?
I think once we break the 5.5 to 6,000, you're talking of maybe another 5 to 700 point drop. And that can probably come soon as we go for the hunt for Red October. And the uncertainty there is the US elections. So imagine if you are already making so much money in the US with all of this uncertainty, diba? Ahead of the US elections. Don't you think if you have funds there, don't you want to pull it out and capitalize on your gains? The rest of the world, like the Philippines, is a negative stock market. So you have a negative 24% while you're making maybe 6-7%. Don't you want to capitalize? Diba? Sigurado ka nang may gain eh.
Okay.
So that's the problem.
A lot of people have been asking about moving averages. Do you have a favorite duration, or do you even use it at all?
Of course, for my long term, I will still use 200. Then eventually, I will have a 21-day moving average that I use for short term.
Most of the people who I've seen use 21 are people who use Bitcoin for their trades. I've seen 20 as something that's been predominantly used, but 21 is also interesting as well. Any final words for people also right now that are somewhat hesitant also to invest given the economic conditions, or given that there's still uncertainty? Anything that you would want to say to them?
I've shared with you my 3 investment mantras. So invest in assets that will appreciate over time, assets that will provide you recurring income. And of course, the third is basically invest in a jackpot. No? Whether the jackpot is a lotto ticket or probably a stock that will become the next SM. Okay. The key question is to think long term. One must take a long-term perspective of the situation. This is a once in a lifetime. And this pandemic is also something different. No? So if you have the funds, you might want to take that long-term perspective. And taking a long-term perspective means, again, looking at a 3 to 5 year window. The Philippine economy started prior to pre-COVID on a strong position, which means we were growing at 6. The only problem is getting our car, which stopped, to restart. Once the car starts, we can eventually move. We have a lot of gas in our fuel tank. The problem is what will enable us to jumpstart the economy or the engine of our car. Now, the engine of our car is basically consumption. How do we eventually tell everybody to just move? You know, if I were to think about it, and if all your listeners would eventually spend 5,000 pesos on a certain stock and hold it for 5 years, that is a good start. You know, probably invest in something that provides a good dividend yield. So you can take any two of the duopoly, no, in terms of depending on your internet provider, no, whether Globe or PLDT, no. These are two dividend yielding stocks, no. So you can either just hold any one of them and you should be okay. Then take a long-term perspective. Second, look for a growth stock that you think that will become the next SM, the next BDO, the next Ayala, and just hold on for a 3 to 5 year window. Now, if you prefer to eventually trade other markets, think twice about cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies just came in 2009. Why is there always a preference for gold? Spandau Ballet said it best, always believe in gold. Because gold, over time, has already proved itself. Even in the Bible, it tells you about gold. Diba? So, what it means is that it is a stored value at any point in time. The problem with crypto is that it came in after the global financial crisis. So we don't know how it will perform if the crisis worsens. Right now, people think that there is value. Right now, as a country, we're already being plagued by the internet traffic. And, it's almost been a decade just for crypto. What more if there are so many transactions that it will take the energy of one country like Nigeria to be able to fund the mining of Bitcoin? What if it is now the size of Japan? Are you willing to pull out the power from other countries so that you're able to fuel the blockchain for internet and power? So that's something to look into. But again, you want to be able to first think of your liquidity. Liquidity is key at the moment, which means if you're going to make an investment, keep it to something that you're willing to lose. So what are you willing to write off? The second, of course, is to be able to have the long-term mindset that you're going to sell it 3 to 5 years from now. It's useless that if it goes up in the next 12 months and you sell it, you can never go back to that level. So that's why if you're going to make an investment, plan it ahead of time. Plan your entry, plan your exit, plan your stop loss so that you will not panic.
Amazing words. Thank you so much, Jonathan Ravelas of BDO. Before I let you go, fast talk. Two options, and then whatever comes out of your mind first. No right or wrong answer. It's just for fun. Okay, let's do this. Penthouse unit in the city or big mansion in the province?
Big mansion in the province.
10 million earning 10% or 1 million earning 100%?
The 10 million earning 10%.
Preferred shares, bond?
Bonds.
Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio?
I'd go for Warren Buffett.
Philippine economy reversal, L-shape, U-shape?
At the moment, it's letter K.
Letter K.
There are some sectors that are going up and there are some sectors that are going down. It will take time before we might see the letter K first before we get to see the U.
Peso cost averaging, buy and hold?
Buy and hold.
Cheap stock, growth stock?
Growth stock.
Cut loss or hold?
Cut loss. Because cut loss makes you humble.
Money or love?
Love.
I hope you guys got a lot from this. And if you learned a lot and if you have questions, please put them in the comment section below and we'll try to answer them as well. So thank you so much and God bless you all.